Welcome back, America. You may have heard of him, Tom Homan, great patriot. He is the incoming real border czar. Donald Trump wanted a real border czar, and he's going to have a great border czar. Tom, there's some yammering out there that we can't use the military to bring criminals and others to justice, and that is to deport them out of our country and deport other people who are illegally. And I've been doing a little bit of research on this, Tom. There's a great piece by the senior legal counsel of the Center for Immigration Studies in the history of the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878, which people say means you can't use the military for police actions in the United States. That's not what it says. Not only is that not what it says, that's not why it was passed. It was passed to prevent the U.S. Marshals from being able to call up the military without the authority of the President of the United States. So Congress passed this law, and they said essentially that these underlings, Department of Justice, these other people do not have the power to call in the military for law enforcement and police actions. And in fact, the Attorney General to Dwight Eisenhower had said that if the Posse Comitatus Act is actually applied this way, it's probably unconstitutional because it ties the president's hands. Now, you and I aren't saying that we ought to bring in the military, to be chasing people all over the place. But this is a national security federal action that you're talking about if you're rounding up illegal immigrants by the hundreds of thousands, because we've had illegal immigrants imported into the country by the hundreds of thousands. What's your general thinking about this? It seems to me we need to have a definitive legal statement, not just go with the media comments.
Well, I think the media is wrong on just about everything they print. Look, we need DOD, and I'm hoping we get DOD's assistance, and I think President Trump can make that happen. I agree with you. The southern border, I've been saying this for almost 4 years. What's happening to our southern border is the biggest national security vulnerability this country's seen since 9/11. We know terrorists have crossed that border. Just take Tren de Agua, for example. They are a threat to our national security. The cartels of Mexico have killed 250,000 Americans with fentanyl. We have a lot of dangerous people in this country. We need to find and remove them because they directly pose the biggest national security threat to this country right now. And even Christopher Wray, who I have zero respect in, even he's testified numerous times, this is a huge national security threat.
Let me ask you something that's really not discussed as well. If we don't deport most of these people under current interpretation of law, and they have children in this country, they become U.S. citizens. Then we have chain migration, which was passed in 1965. So you're talking about 21 million people, maybe more, maybe less, who knows, but a lot. And at some point in the not too distant future, you're going to have citizens from these illegal aliens, and you're going to have chain migration. So that 21 million can turn into 100 million, 140 million, 180 million in one generation of people in this country, no?
Well, look, that's why we need to push back on the false narrative from the left. They're claiming, they demanded these millions of people be released in the United States. They demanded they got the right to see a judge. They demanded they got the right to claim asylum. Okay. And we'll do that. We'll give them their day in court. However, at the end of that due process that they demand, if a judge orders them removed, they must be removed. What's the option? Let them stay? Because if you do that, if you send a message to the entire world, you can cross the border illegally, which is a crime. You can see a judge or not see a judge and get an order removal and not leave. We're never going to solve this crisis. So look, we got to execute those orders from the immigration courts. Right now, if you look at the data, 9 out of 10 people who claim asylum at our border will end up with an order removal because they simply don't qualify for asylum. So we had to remove them. And if we don't, shut down the immigration court. I mean, what the hell are we doing? If the judge's orders don't mean anything anymore, then shut down the immigration court, take the border patrol off the border. No, we'll give you a shot at claiming asylum if that's what you want to claim. But at the end of that, you get order removed, you're going home. And if you choose while you're here to give birth to an illegal to a U.S. citizen child, well, guess what? When you get removed, you can leave the child here, or you can take them with you. So we got to secure the border. We got to enforce immigration law, or we're never going to fix the border, and it leads to a big national security vulnerability to this nation.
I want to pursue that last point with you because that's a point that the left and the media are using to try and undermine this whole effort. You're going to separate grandma from her grandchildren? Let me ask you a question, Tom Homan. Did these people come here voluntarily, or were they dragged across the border by the United States government?
They came here voluntarily and committed a crime by entering the country illegally.
And so they knew what they were doing. They knew the possibilities that would result from that. That's number one. Number two, When we put people in prison, American citizens, for committing offenses, is it a defense to say, wait a minute, I'm a grandmother, I have 3 grandchildren, please don't separate me from my grandchildren? Is that a defense in any court in America?
Absolutely not, and that's why I've been pushing back. You know, they still want to attack President Trump for what they call family separation rate, 0 tolerance. Look, we prosecuted people, we put them in jail. The child can't go to jail with them. When I was a cop in New York, I was a police officer in New York, I arrested a father for domestic violence. The child couldn't go to jail with him, so that family got separated. I arrested fathers or mothers with DUI who had a child in the car. We separated that family. Law enforcement separates families all across this country every day, but they want a different set of rules for illegal aliens, and there just can't be a different set of rules. They can keep talking about the Trump's family separation, but you know they're not talking about the 300,000 children that were separated from their parents and smuggled in the country by cartels that they can't find. They never talk about the thousands of angel moms and dads whose children were murdered by someone that was in the country illegally. There's a separation because they buried their child. So, you know, the left's message is wrong. It's misleading to the American people.
It's a great point. I want to pursue that, as well as all the women who are enslaved in sex slavery and labor slavery and all the rest of it. Seems like the media didn't pay a hell of a lot of attention to any of that. We're going to pursue that when we come back.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.